TiE members, guests, and speakers who have come here. I wish you all a very, very happy Shivratri. Let's use this auspicious day to learn new things today from our eminent speakers. May I call our President, beloved President Sudanwa sir, to set the today's learning journey.
Good evening, everybody, and wishing you all happy Mahashivratri. I think the attendance is a little bit thin when compared to our usual events because of the festival. Welcome to this month's event. I am very happy to have Praveen and Prasad of Invensoft and Vaishali ma'am from DRC. We have Hanumanth sir as well. So thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for being here. Prasad and Praveen I've known for a long time, many years. They don't publicize the work, the very good work they are doing at Invensoft in Mysuru and Bangalore. We will hear more about it. But something which I can never forget is the first visit to Invensoft. I walked into their boardroom, and a boardroom where there is a beautifully done showcase of sorts, and hundreds of varieties of coffee, nicely packaged from all over the world. And that was the curiosity. I said, what is this about? And then I learned that most of the coffee that was traded in the world was traded through their platform. And they were in Mysore, Invensoft, and very quiet. And now, of course, they do more. We will listen to their journey of entrepreneurship, first generation, having done amazingly well. And Vaishali ma'am, you've pioneered cinematic experience in Mysore. Otherwise, we were going to our regular theatre. For the first time, multiplex cinematic experience, not just from entertainment perspective. It's a full experience that I'm talking about. Fantastic, and you pioneered it, and I'm sure we will see more of that. And welcome to all of you. Welcome to the speakers. It's an honor to have you all here today. I now invite Prajakta to MC for the rest of the evening. Before that, TiE board met recently, the board of TiE Mysuru, and we have come up with proposed TiECon for 2023. Mr. Nagarajan is the chair for TiECon, and Dr. Mahesh Rao is the co-chair. I invite Nagarajan to talk about it a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, President Sudanwa. Good evening, folks. My name is Nagarajan, for those of you who don't know me. Not too many updates to share as far as TiECon goes, but one thing is the dates have been decided. It's going to be the 14th and the 15th of April. This is going to be the logo. And the theme that we have this time around is scalability and sustainability. And we believe many companies here in Mysore, many enterprises, many startups are grappling with this question in their mind. How do I scale? And how do I make myself sustainable? And we aim to address some of those questions through this to a series of sessions, fireside chats, and whatever else might be my keynote addresses and everything else that we will bring in through TiECon. My humble request to all the charter members, associate members, and even the student members, please take part in this actively. And we also require your support and help to even invite a few, for some of the eminent speakers. We are already tapping into some of the charter members there for that. And if you have very interesting suggestions of names that you know personally or know through somebody, let us know. Let us know. The theme being scalability and sustainability, and we will see what best we can do. Okay, that's pretty much it from my side. And we will update you more and more as we move along. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Gives a great opportunity to introduce the speakers of the day today. You go to a cinema and you ask for a cup of coffee, you know from where it is coming. It's not only scalability, it's also sustainability as we talk about. And it gives me immense pleasure today to introduce the founders of Invensoft, starting with Mr. Prasad Raju, a graduate in mechanical engineering from our own University of Mysuru. He was working for over 8 years in various IT companies in various departments and levels of management, and that's very interesting, levels of management. And he has got rich experience in ERP and business process systems, and some of his reputed customers included the United States Army. And that's a beautiful honor to have him with us today evening. Prasad takes care of the overall management, global business development activities, and product roadmap at Invensoft. His younger Praveen was an out-of-the-college entrepreneur in 1997, and he started Invensoft. He is also a mechanical engineer from University of Mysuru. Started as a proprietor company in Invensoft with the guidance and mentoring of Senior Prasad, along with his seed fund to buy the first computer and an inkjet printer as a gift from his father. Oh, what a wonderful way to start. It's always said that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And here it was, starting with the inkjet printer. Very exciting. He's a techie and a developer himself, passionate with the database and client-server technologies. Between 1998 and 2000, Praveen developed an inventory system for an automobile component manufacturing company and an ERP for discrete manufacturing company who used to manufacture fasteners. And you will be very happy to know that both of these projects successfully implemented and went live in 2 years before Invensoft became a private limited company in the year 2000 in the month of September. Praveen has a rich experience in IT and ERP, web technology, a database for various business domains. He has been responsible for success of Invensoft in various global projects in agriculture and commodity business. Praveen takes care of the business operations at Invensoft and is the chief product architect of Invensoft XBS Registered. I think without much ado and not wasting our time, I think it's more exciting to listen to the speakers today, and I think it will be a wonderful exposure and an experience for us to hear what the Praveen and Pramod have to say today on this. Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of TiE Mysuru, I again welcome you to today's evening, and we look forward to your interesting talk. Welcome once again, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Sudhanva and TiE team for giving us an opportunity to meet you all and spend this evening with you. Basically, just wanted to share with you a brief story about Invensoft and our journey. It's not much and it's pretty long, 22 years now. But then having said that, we have been working in Mysore since 2007. Prior to that, we were in Bangalore for about 7 years. Then we moved out to Mysore. Both of us are from Mysore. Born in Mysore, we spent our childhood in Mysore. My father used to practice in Mandya. He was a medical practitioner, so we studied in Mandya. And then we had our roots, very strong roots in Mysore. We always used to spend our holidays, good amount of time in Mysore. So when we got an opportunity in 2007 to shift out of Bangalore, we preferred Mysore. And there was also a couple of reasons, because we were working with some commodity companies and there was a proximity to the Coorg area and so on and so forth. Having said that, but the major reasons to shift out of Bangalore was to ensure that the product development goes on smoothly without too much of disturbance, which we were getting in Bangalore for a long time. I'll have a small presentation, and I'll quickly run down through that, and then I can make it more interactive for all of you, so you can ask us any question in between, or when we finish the presentation, we can do that. So let me get into the first slide. This one. As I said, we are a software product company focusing on agriculture, commodity business, and metal warehousing. Metal warehousing in specific, LME certified metal warehousing. LME stands for London Metal Exchange, where aluminum and zinc are traded. Coming to agriculture commodities, we predominantly focus on soft commodities and high value soft commodities like coffee, cocoa, and grains, cashew, and things like that. We have client base in over 14 countries, and we have very few clients in India, maybe about 3 or 4, but all of our clients are distributed in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, and Europe. We have about a team of 65 now, and then we have registered office in Bangalore, and our global development center, what we call, is in Mysuru. We are in Hebal, near to Theorem. And we are a bootstrap company. We do not have any funding from anybody. We just put in our money, we put in our earnings. This is how our journey has been all these days. Coming to the other markets, most of the places commodities are produced, then it's processed, exported, and consumed in areas like Europe and US predominantly. We focus on coffee, which is one of the high value commodities in terms of value after the crude oil, and focus on all commodity origins of coffee. We work with customers who are into basically commodity procurement from origins and then exporting it. It's a long value chain which gets into the business right from the tree when the coffee has been harvested till we drink it. The value appreciation is about 40-45x. So that's how it works, and then every time people add a value, there is a risk which involves. A risk is not only the forex risk or the market risks and things like that, but there are huge risks which is something like business controls, operations, quality, and so on and so forth. Because you know that most of the agricultural commodities are having moisture with them. So you buy a commodity with a long moisture, you're buying water at the price of the commodity. So we work with our customers to enable them to understand these intricacies, risks, and the business control, and then we roll out our solutions for their business. Yeah. About 45% of the coffee which has been produced today in origins, they are processed, procured, and exported using our software. Thank you. And coming to the next topic of traceability, we work on traceability right from, we call it as bean to cup, right from the farm where the commodity moves around, we trace it. Our solutions do have capabilities to trace them till it reaches the end consumer. We do have trade risk management, which is a part of the commodity business, which is typically the market risks. Most of you know there are market fluctuation based on the demand supply, and then also the forex changes. The systems takes care of these risks, provides positions, daily P&Ls, mark to market, and so on and so forth. This will enable a trader to ensure that the risks are minimized. And then the next domain we address is the third-party warehousing. Basically, most of the commodities and metals, when they move around in their value chain, it is stored. It is stored for several years, it is hedged, it is traded. So we take care of that complete part of the warehousing. And there are a lot of warehousing softwares available, solutions available today, right from the top ERPs. But we specialize in commodity third-party warehousing, which is a niche area. And then, of course, we have what we call it as digital agriculture. Digital agriculture is a new platform which we have launched, and then we have been quite successful, and then we are rolling out our first digital agriculture platform in Africa for about 100,000 farmers. This takes care of farmer management, farm management, traceability, and then also the what we call it as the farm technology in terms of providing them the inputs and also the support, financial support, and so on and so forth, ultimately leading to the sustainability of the farmers. This is something which is going around in the market now for a long time, where most of the companies would like to see the farmers more sustainable, get their money, so that the farming still goes on as a profitable venture for most of the farmers. And last not but the least, we work with the LME certified metal warehousing company. This is a very interesting domain. Most of the metal warehouses who are certified with the exchanges work in reverse with the market or the economy. When there is a boom in the economy, these warehouses will be empty. When the economy goes down, people do put in all their money and then buy these metals and put it into the warehouse. So when there is a recession, we become busy. When there is no recession, this particular domain is slightly lean. So there is a kind of I would say a hedging which also happens to us in terms of what we do and what we earn. So this is basically taking care of all the metals which has been stored in the warehouse and issuing the warrants, and then in terms of the finances and all that. You would have been, if you have been following with some of the China stories, metal warehousing is a very shoddy business. The same metal is hedged with several banks, or even pledged with several banks for the same money. So one bank, if you default with one of the bank, and when they come, they find that it has been already been pledged with 3 more banks. So this used to be the story, but then we started rolling out solutions with LME, and today we have one of the largest warehouses of LME, storing close to about 50-55% of the aluminum which has been traded in the world. Coming to the journey, we started in the year 1998. The whole idea was when Praveen was out of the college, and then I wanted to do something with him, and then fortunately I got somebody who can work with me without asking me any question for no money. So that was the kind of I would say a partnership which we could, as a nice partnership we could strike, and then said, okay, we'll start doing something. We started developing an ERP. We thought the idea of developing an ERP was we can develop several modules, and then we can say, okay, fine, if we cannot sell one module, we can sell other, and then we can still get a customer on board. We used to go and meet people in Bangalore, especially the manufacturing industry. And then 2 gentlemen we met. One was an engineer from Malnad Engineering College. He trusted us and gave us a opportunity for invoicing system. And another one gentleman was from IIT Madras, and then he was into fasteners. So he had a genuine problem. He said that whatever I explain to people, they don't understand about my business. So both of you say that you are mechanical engineers, let me spend some time and then you come back with your idea. So it was something like what we could understand as mechanical engineers: what is a fastener, what is the nut, what is a bolt, and things like that. And the processing, what they were doing in terms of either the heat forging or cold and so on and so forth. So we were able to roll out our products and to their satisfaction. And then they were acquired by Oyster Group, right? Murugappa Group, and then we moved on with them and so on and so forth. Yeah.
This is an interesting story. When I started my career as an entrepreneur out of college, basically as any other fresher out of college, nothing was in my mind to start, what to start. But I want to do something, on my own. And then this opportunity came up as to develop an inventory system. I learned Visual Basics on my own, and and took 8 months to develop the product. And thanks to that, first client, always trust us. That is very important for an entrepreneur to, break even first, into ice break, into the first client. So that's where, and this coincidentally, this gentleman is from Mysuru. He was ex, head of automotive axles in Mysore. And Venkatramanan. Yeah. Okay. So that's how the journey started here. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was quite interesting. Before that, when we deployed our first solution, we deployed, customer was happy, he said, you can give us the invoice. So we used to prepare the invoice, go to basically a
Cyber cafe.
cafe and get it printed. But when we went there, the person said, I cannot print it, my printer is not working for 3 days. So we were struggling what to do. And then I was working, but I could not print that in my office. So Praveen was supposed to do. And my father said, okay, how much it will cost for you to buy a printer? And then
that's when my first, gift from my father, as an inkjet printer, I got it.
So he gave us a printer and then became a shareholder. So that's a very interesting story in the company. Yeah, and then when we started moving ahead, and then we got next order, we got a good advance, as we call. And then my father called us and said that, okay, you did something, but now a customer is trusting you and then putting in money. So if you have reasonable amount of commitment to your business, then you continue. Otherwise, it's better to go back and say sorry, and then you go back to your jobs. So don't make this as your part-time or your as something which you want to try out and leave it. Because somebody puts in money and confidence, then there is something which they are putting in a lot of their stakes in you. So that's something which really has stuck us right from that day. And then we had to tell our father that, okay, we will try and do this. So we are not going to, miss out on delivering the value. So we still delivered the value to the customer on that. Yeah. And then the journey moved on, and then we got an opportunity to develop one of the skill-based systems, and I have the expert sitting here on that thing. We just developed a small computer-based testing system for a US-based firm. They were trying to, it was called Go for Careers, right? Go for Careers, and then they were trying to hire IT people, so they had tied up with several companies, and then they did that. And then
and at that time we had only 2, along with me. When I started implementing this, ERP for a fastener company, I used to go in the morning and collect the requirement, and come back and fix the bug, next day go back. And those were the days, you used to take floppy drives, floppy disks. So I used to take all these things. So, and then we hired one more person. And the challenge was, for this skill testing system, customer gave us 10 days time to develop from scratch. So that was the challenge. And Visual Basics 3.0 and MS Access was the database. So we did it in 10 days. That was a major challenge, only 2 of us, and of course Prasad was there working somewhere and helping us. Yeah.
And then we decided to make it more formal, and then I moved out of my job, and then we started our company called Invensoft Technologies Private Limited, which is a private limited company. And then we started getting more and more projects. Then we thought that we don't want to do this custom software development for a long time. The reasons were lot, for that matter. The primary reason was, if we do that, then we were not able to differentiate ourselves from the large IT companies. They had scale, they had people on board, they could do anything, whatever customer asks. So we are not able to compete with them. So then we thought we will try and do something which can be a kind of niche, and then give us a kind of protection in terms of competition. So that's where we thought, okay, we'll try and do a product, which means that I develop a product, spending some effort, money. So then the product implementation, if we start looking at it, then there will be a revenue, and the competition also can be avoided by pricing your product or looking at the market where your competition is not really active. So that's why we thought of developing the full suite of Invensoft XBS system. We called it as an extended business system. and then it had a typical procurement to the invoicing business process in that. And we started focusing on areas which was typically agriculture domain. We were looking at this domain. There were companies who are using some of the Excel spreadsheets and then using traditional methods of calculations. So we said, okay, why don't we go and approach them and all that. We got an opportunity in 2001 where we went and then competed against large companies. There was a US company who were manufacturing seeds called Monsanto. You would have heard of it. It's a global giant. There was a tender. We went and applied for the tender, and then we said we wanted to meet your people, users, and understand the business. They thought that we do not know the business, so we are asking. They said we have a very detailed RFP, and then you can read through that and give us the proposal. So that was the way they were working as a multinational. Then they said, no, there could be pain points which we wanted to see and then try and address. And then they said, okay, give us some time. They spoke to all our competitors. Competitors gave the quote, and then they finally called us. They were in Bellary. We went to Bellary. And then we spent about 3-4 days there. At the end of the 4th day, we realized that whatever requirement they gave us a requirement for an inventory system. They were producing seeds. The seeds were sold to farmers, and the farmers used to sow the seeds, and the guarantee was if there are 1,000 seeds, 999 plants will come. It will be germinated out of it, and then the plants will yield particular yield for the acre. But then, the farmers, how sensitive they are in terms of pricing, because those days, I am talking about in 2001, the seeds used to cost something like 3,000, 3,500 per kilo. Whereas the same corn out in the market would cost you 6 rupees per kilo. So that was the price of the hybrid seeds. So somebody has to pay that much of money to get a high yield seed. But then if even there is a 3%, 4% variation, the farmers used to come back and dump the seeds in Monsanto's office. So that became a major problem for Monsanto. They were having about 9% returns. You look at the 9% return on their turnover. And then we said, having an inventory system can only give you business controls, but it cannot give you anything to do with your seed returns. So seed returns, you need to understand where the problem is, which is at the farm, not in your inventory. So then we said a traceability based inventory system would be an answer, and then we proposed that. And they said, okay, we will try and see what you are saying. We will give this project as phase 1 and phase 2. So I will not implement your product fully, but they thought that we are trying to sell our product because we have the traceability with us. Then they gave us the phase 1. And it took 2 years. From 9%, we brought down the returns to 0.9%. So that's what happened in 2 years.
So that's when they control the quality, and it took 2 years for us. And the interesting story again on this particular deal, that's where we diversified ourselves from discrete manufacturing ERP to agriculture domain. We won this project against biggies, those days. Wipro and probably many of you know there was a company called Aditya Technologies in Bangalore. They were Microsoft partners. So that was a big change for us, as a small company. That time we were on 6 to 8 guys. Six people, yeah. So, and getting a $1 billion company like Monsanto project, even a small project, is a big turn for us. Yeah.
And they had several challenges as we went on to the agriculture business. We also found out there is another challenge coming up. Another one was what we call it as the quality. Typically, if we get into this any agriculture commodity, each commodity has to be validated with the quality, which means that you look into, say for example, coffee. You look for moisture, you look for black beans, you look for broken, so on and so forth. But then you get into wheat, you look for the protein, you look for the pests, you look for the pesticide residue, so on and so forth. So then we realized that only a configurable system can actually give us a good mileage in terms of reaching out to the market and multiple customers. And then lot of people were using spreadsheet because you set up a parameter in the old technology client server screens, then you have to use another commodity, then you have to change your screen, put it into new validation, so on and so forth. Then, so we took this opportunity, we built a web-based quality system which was completely configurable. It could be used right from a coffee to any commodity. You can configure your parameters, you can configure your standard values, and you can configure your acceptable range and deductions and all that. So with that, we also built in a payment engine which they could calculate for the procurement of the commodity, and then precisely tell farmer, okay, your particular commodity or produce is only worth so much of money per kg, because this is what the standard rate is, and these are the deductions or the incentives I can give you because of your quality. So people who are actually managing about 3-4 truckloads in a day, which is about 10-ton trucks, so about 40-50 tons a day, they were able to manage more than 20 trucks a day because of all these modules which were rolled out in the market. This happened with one of the coffee companies in India. They were a European company. They came to India. They set up an office in Kushalnagar, and they had a big challenge of business controls. The same thing which they were worried that whether the farmers are getting the right price, or is there any when you buy coffee at 150 rupees a kilo, the raw coffee, or now it's more. So those days it's pretty the price. And then even if somebody gives them 5% lesser margin, that was a massive money which gets into. Yeah. So they wanted a system with a lot of these controls, and then we were able to roll out. And within couple of years, we were able to roll out these modules in about 3 or 4 commodity companies in India and Indonesia. And 2007, we were having a good customer base, and then we wanted to expand our operations. We were working in our own premise in Bangalore. We had an office which could house about 15 people, right? Yeah. And we wanted to add another 15 people. So 10-12 people, and then we thought we will take another place and then rent it out and then have another office. And then we also wanted to register ourselves with STPI for, of course, there was a sunset clause which was almost coming to an end, and so we did not get too much of benefit, but we wanted to register at least for a year or two, whatever we get. And then we went to STPI. When we applied, then they said, why don't you look at different places, because Bangalore was getting crowded. And then we told them that first we did not get a rented place. We identified a couple of places, but then went to STPI, said that these are the probable places where we can set up our office. They said, no, you need to have a contract in place. So, and then they also said that within that 2 years, if you keep changing, there's a process of revalidating all your certification and so on and so forth. So I said, then it's going to be a little complicated. So then they said, why don't you go to a place where you can be more stable in terms of where you can do your business, in terms of continuity with your place. So we thought, okay, fine, Mysore, we'll look at it. So we came, we took a rented place, and then got our STPI registration done. And then I think the first, we had about 12-13 people here. That was a 15-seater which we started.
16-seater, yeah.
15-seater, yeah, we started in Gokulam. And we did everything. Office started, we could bring in furnitures, everything. Out of 15 people, we wanted to move some people from Bangalore. And we had large challenge in terms of resistance, in terms of moving out of Bangalore. So what we did is we had a guest house. So and then, I think this moves over to a lot of things here. And then we used to get people from Bangalore, tell them go to Mysore, have a good time, take a day off or a 2-day off, weekend off, stay in the guest house, and then you can work and see how it goes. Excuse me.
You know, uh, I know a lot of other piggies here in Mysore already faced it. So when we came here in Mysore, the first challenge was the facility availability. You know, for a typical IT company, even getting internet was a challenge those days. You know, broadband basically, and we somehow got it to Airtel, and spoke to them. Got a line from the to our office, and convincing our employees from Bangalore. We hired a couple of freshers in Mysore. Again, this was a challenge for our technology, and just freshers was not enough, and convincing our existing senior employees. Since we are a product company, we need some product focus and knowledge, somebody to handle. And we both used to travel 2 days in Mysore, and 3 days in Bangalore, kind of thing. Uh, Convincing our existing employees, they were actually reluctant. Now, what we are facing now, asking our work from home employees to come back to office. So, they were ready to quit, and people used to think that only Bangalore is the only destination for software engineers. And that's when we decided, let us give some, opportunity for them to experience Mysore. So we had a very good guest house. We gave them weekend off, weekend in Mysore, and even Friday off to go to Mysore, enjoy Mysore. That's when we were able to convince 2 of our senior guys when they moved into Mysore, and even I also moved into Mysore in 2008. And so that's when the story of Mysore started. And there are a lot of other challenges we faced. Like all the reasons people used to give, that there's no hospital, there's no school, and today we have plenty, but there's no social life, and even our couple of other system, like support system like banking, we never had a good support here. So, and we came up with all these things. Yeah.
Actually, the real reason was many people thought that they'll not be able to change jobs. So if they thought that we are in Bangalore, we can go and approach thousands of companies, we can change job. And we realized that, and then we even called them and said that, okay, fine, you go to Mysore, you are not going to be here, you will change jobs. Tell your new employer that my company dumped me in Mysore, so I am coming and join. That will be a very reasonable answer, and you will get selected. So even we said that. So some people came, some people worked here, some people left, but some people, most of them started liking Mysore. They came here, they saw, they settled down. Couple of them even bought a house in Mysore within about a year or so after they came here. They got fully settled, and they're still working with us they have been with us for more than 16, 17 years now. So the idea was to make people comfortable to come here and work. And then we also had an advantage because most of our customers were outside this country. So people were traveling. And then they have to go to on-site, they have to spend time for either a business gap analysis, meetings, implementation, support, and so on and so forth. So they were also excited to do that, So these were the advantages we had. And then in the journey we had several of these. We were not able to go to airport, and then I think that's where with Infosys we pitched into the
flybus.
KSRTC flybus and all that, right? Probably I think you were also part of that group which we coordinated and then did that. The first flybus started moving out of Mysore, and then so all those things happened because we had some women employees, and then going in the night and was a challenge for them. So they always preferred to go by bus, and then this was the challenge we had. Yeah, I could go back. And then 2008 to 11, this is what the journey happened in Mysore. We were able to acquire customers globally, right from Vietnam to Peru, Colombia, Mexico, Honduras, Brazil. We went and then acquired customers everywhere. And then so we were deploying systems for them. And then we thought of upgrading our solution because The first one was a classic web solution which came out in 2002. It was 10 years, and then by the time the .NET was a bit mature, and then we said, okay, we'll move over to .NET, and then 2012 we started completely re-engineering our product into .NET. And 12 to 14 we did that, and then around 2013, right? We moved into our new office.
13 January.
Yeah, we took a place in near in Hootagalli, near Reckitt, and between Reckitt and Theorem, right? And then we have set up a development center there. Currently can house about 55 people, and then we have a guest house and all that, but it can be scalable up to 500. We have made that option available there. Because of COVID, we wanted to scale up in 2019 and then add another 100-seater, but then I think right time we called up back because then the COVID started, and then the whole dimension of business changed. Now, a lot of people are working from home, a lot of people are working from office, so it's a kind of mix and match for us. And 16 to 21, we have moved into digital agriculture with mobile technology, offline, so on and so forth, because we work in places where the internet connectivity is either not available or very minimum. So working on a cloud technology is a challenge. So in places we do still have implementations where the system runs on a local system server and then gets replicated to a cloud whenever there is a connectivity. These kind of challenges we do face when we go and implement in places like Africa. And then we got an opportunity to divert into metals because we saw there is an opportunity there. I think 2016 or 17 there was a fallout in China in terms of the metal warehousing, and these companies were looking for system like today. Excuse me. We took there our commodity warehousing solution, but then there were certain changes needed for an LME usage, which we did, and then we were able to roll out those systems. Maybe you can.
As a bootstrap company, couple of challenges where we survived, that made us more strong over a period of 2 decades. The first one was, recession. We did not even feel that because we were very small at that time. We were too small, 3 or 4 guys working for us. So there was no effect on this. But the main turning point was 2008 recession. By that time, we already acquired a couple of clients in Latin America, in Peru, Colombia, but they were all headquarters in US and Europe. That's when we faced, there was some, project cancellation happened, and by that time we had taken risk of moving to Mysuru, calculated risk, and also we bought a land to build a new campus. Tricky situation, and always, some of the clients will always help us. That's when in 2011, we got another global implementation project.
2008 was pretty interesting because we were in US, we participated in a show, but the real reason to go and was to meet one of the large clients where they said, we would like to meet you and then decide to roll out in Latin America. We were there, 2008 January. They were located in New York, off New York, place called Connecticut, Wilton. So 2000 we were there, and then the stock market collapsed. We were there in Battery Park. We came out of Battery Park. We could see several trucks in front of the New York Stock Exchange, a lot of activity, and then we went back to the hotel, and then because we had still a day left for our meeting, and then we went back to the hotel and said, and everybody in US said there is going to be a big recession, no orders going to be signed, because we waited for almost, we finished the show in Miami, and then the lady said, I am going on vacation, I could not go on vacation due to the year end, so on and so forth, so you come after a week. So we decided to spend doing nothing but to wait for the meeting. And then we went to the hotel and saw everything was, the American media said everything is gone. people are going to lose jobs, no orders are going to be signed, and all that happened. Then we went and met the lady, and then we were prepared. We were prepared and said, okay, they may say, okay, I'm sorry, you will not be able to do anything for the next 6 months, 1 year. Maybe you have to come back again. For a company of our size, spending a lot of money and time and then going back again was again a challenge, but we were ready for that. But then having said that, we sensed that there was an opportunity for us. That was the business control. When we started speaking to them, and then they said that they are having a lot of problems in controlling the business offshore sitting from New York. Then we were able to convince them that these are the systems and the checks and balances you can bring in your business process, which can actually give you a leverage in terms of the business. So that's what has probably one of the opportunity what we got was only that. And then we were able to sign off the deal, and then we walked out with the deal and then started rolling out in Latin America. When there was a recession in the US, we got the deal, and then we were busy rolling out things in Latin America. Yeah. And the next, of course, the COVID. We all knew.
COVID is again, not only us, everybody, everybody is facing that. And we all know now how to
I'm fine.
how to handle the situation now with a lot of hybrid working, and even for us, as Prasad said, even though we have a campus, last 3 years when there is a downfall everywhere, we hired more people and we exceeded our capacity and we did not even build the campus, expand the campus. So we have to manage with work from home forcibly, or else we have to increase the size of our campus. Good, that's what happened in last 2 years.
I think we were ready for COVID about 8 years ago, before it even came. What I mean by that is, when we came to Mysuru, we had an opportunity to set up the IT systems. Then they said, okay, they came, they gave us, okay, you need a 5 kVA UPS, you need this, you need everything. And it was a rented premise. And then doing all the wiring, there was a cost. So, and then everything was a cost for us. So then we said, we worked out everything. They said, okay, in Mysuru, we are not going to use any of the desktops. We will invest in laptop. The whole idea of investing in laptop was to reduce the networking and reduce the dependency on the UPS. And then it really paid off for us when the whole culture continued, and then we never bought desktops after 2007. It was all laptops, and nobody used desktop. And then it was just smooth for us when it was COVID, and then people can take laptops home and then start working, and then it was in a day or two, we just wrapped up everything and said, okay, take your laptops and go home. In fact, much before that, people were working from home. We had a few women employees who were actually married or had a child, so they were preferring to work, late in the evenings or at their will whenever they are free. So we always gave them laptops. They used to take it home, and we used to work from home much before the COVID. So COVID really did not give us any major challenges in terms of managing the infrastructure and things like that. There were HR challenges, there were people challenges, they were always there. And coming to our sort of business, we are into food business, so food has to be consumed. There were issues in terms of getting larger deals, but the deals were going on, and then people were giving us the maintenance, buying things, getting it customized, so on and so forth. So we were happy in doing things during that time. So it was not a major issue for us. Where we stand today is like deep domain focus, which means that one philosophy is like if we get gelled with your customer so well or so deep that it's true that businesses cannot live without a customer, and there is a way by working in collaboration with the customer, we can also get into a stage where customers depend on you to a great extent, which means that you become a part of them. Like if customer has to be there, then they need a vendor who can support them for a long time. So this is where we thought of investing in deep domain knowledge, understanding their business, talking to them about technology and taking their problems and then ensuring that whether my technology can solve or not. What digital agriculture we are talking, this is the second round, right? First round we made it online. and then a lot of people came up with a lot of issues. So then we were started to think about what we did and what they need in terms of the solution. So we changed it. So in terms of deep domain focus, couple of us, about 5-6 of us, spend a lot of time and effort to understand the business, understand what they need, and then try to deliver that. It doesn't end after the customer goes live. It starts after they go live, because then there are a lot of these new things which comes up, continuity happens, and then you become really a part of the organization. And we work in about 14 countries, and many countries we don't speak the language, whether it's Portugal or French or German or Spanish. Spanish we know only a few words because we traveled there, and then we have to take it in a piece of paper. No Google, no Siri those days, so just a piece of paper and pen, and then walk around with that. And then we used to catch hold of somebody who can speak a little bit of English in the customer place, so that we can, take their help to translate. So, but only thing is like the design and the domain knowledge, which helped us to give a product which is not an alien for the user. That's how it started working for us. Today we are about one of the top 5 companies who provide the commodity management in the world. And then, as we said, that 45% of the agro commodities and 50% of this. Yeah. This is about us, and pretty much very stable story, and then nothing much. Thanks for your opportunity. Thanks for listening to us.
Thank you, Praveen sir and Prasad sir. It is really nice to hear your story. And as a first-time entrepreneur, myself and my husband, I can relate to your story. Thank you so much, and it's very inspiring, and Mysuru is proud of you for getting the Mysuru on the map, global map. Thank you so much. May I request Ms. Vidya Patel to introduce our next speaker, Vaishali ma'am.
Thank you, Prajakta. Good evening, everybody, once again. And it's a pleasure for me to introduce Vaishali ma'am today. And let me start with her brief introduction, and she will be talking more about herself and her journey. So, Mrs. Vaishali Hanumanth is from a well-known business family of Mysuru. The iconic Shantala Theatre of Mysuru was established by her grandfather, late Sri N.S. Padaki. She has spent many hours in her childhood at the theatre. She was very much interested in movies, and she supported her father and her husband in their business till 2010. Then she takes a challenge of creating Mysuru's first multiplex called? Yes. So she takes a challenge of first gifting Mysuru its first multiplex. In the year 2011, the DRC opens to the public at BM Habitat Mall. I just want to add one sentence here. BM Habitat Mall is mostly called as DRC Mall by most of the children and youngsters. So BM Habitat Mall another Martha they call DRC Mall. Even my children call it as the DRC Mall. So DRC is a, yes. So DRC has won several awards and recognition and appreciations. Certificate of Appreciation for promptly filing GST by Ministry of Finance by Government of India. Cash awards from Government of India for adopting and implementing digital payments. DRC is the first multiplex in Mysuru to bring recliner seating to Mysoreans. DRC was the first to screen movies in 6 languages, including Kannada, English, Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, and Malayalam. So let us welcome Mrs. Vaishali Hanumanth, a proud and successful woman entrepreneur of Nama Mysuru, to today's founder story.
Everyone, good evening. I thank President Sudanva and the team TiE Mysuru for giving me this opportunity to talk to all of you. Actually, I'm not so comfortable giving speeches from the podium. Hange ಮಾತಾಡು ಅಂದರೆ ಬೇಜಾನ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಬಟ್ ಪೋಡಿಯಮಿಂದ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೆದರಿಕೆ. I have to admit that I am comfortable speaking a mixture of Kannada and English. When the agenda came by email, Mahesh namge agenda ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರು ಇಮೇಲಲ್ಲಿ that you need to talk for 35 minutes ಅಂದರೆ ಫಿಲ್ಮಿ ಸ್ಟೈಲಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ದಂಗಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. 35 ನಿಮಿಷ ನನ್ನ ಕೈಲಿ ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. Then I asked Hanumanth, ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ, I can't talk like this for a audience who are all great in their own fields. ವಾಟ್ ಡು ಐ ಟಾಕ್? ನಾನು ಬರೀ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಎಂಡಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನಂಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ನೋಡೋಕ್ಕೆ, ಸಿನಿಮಾ ತೋರ್ಸೋಕ್ಕೂ ಇಷ್ಟ, ಅದು ಬಿಟ್ಟರೆ ಏನು ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ. ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಐ ಆಸ್ಡ್ ಹನುಮಂತ್. ಆ್ಯಸ್ ಯೂಶುವಲ್, ಹನುಮಂತ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಮೈ ಮೆಂಟರ್, ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್, ಹಸ್ಬೆಂಡ್, ಸೈಲೆಂಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ನರ್ ಫಾರ್ DRC, who is always there behind me. I wouldn't be here if it was not for my family. The amount of trust, the backing that I have got from my family is immense. So I always tell people that ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಿಂದೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಸಾಧಿಸ್ಬೋದು. See, that is the one thing which I have learnt in my journey. I come from the Padiki family and married into business family. Both my father-in-law and my husband always told me that you need to do something. You have to be independent. Just for the joy of it, whatever you want, you do. We are there for you. 32 years back, when I just graduated and I got married into their family, this was the first thing that they told me. Yen bekar madamma. We are there with you. And I come from a family where my father, he has 3 daughters and he has always treated us brilliantly, gave us lot of freedom in those days. So I would like to narrate. Then I said, okay, founders series. Okay, let me start with my own founder series talk, which is the first. I'm doing it today in TiE Mysuru, and I'm really thankful to all of you. When I was in 10th standard, my father told me, ಒಂದು share application haku. I said, ಏನು share application? Avagella there was no DMAT system and all. So he got me one big share application, and it was quite fascinating because ishtu big ittu. He said, write down everything. This is how you write a share application. And that application was for Vikrant tires. And I got some 100 shares allotted. And I told my dad that I got this allotment letter. He said, you have to trade it. There was a broker. You call and tell him. And I got my first Luna from that profit. And I was so happy and excited. Oh my God, 11th standard ge. So that is what family means. And we have encouraged, Hanumanth and I have encouraged our kids. Even though when I started DRC, my daughter was in 10th and my son Krishna was in 7th. I told them, look, this opportunity has come. Everybody has to sacrifice. No holidays. We need to, because everything was new to us. They just, so I need to tell you how the BM Habitat story started. My father and his brothers run the famous Shantala Theatre, and Dr. C.B. Murthy is a very good friend of us, family friend for some 30 years. So Dr. C.B. Murthy told my father that Padki avare neevu start maadi, nam mall alli multiplexu. Then my dad and his brother, everybody, even we were there, they said nobody is there to look after the new venture, because we have the iconic NS Padki where we supply all the industrial parts, and we are busy with that. And Padki tires and also and so forth. And I was busy helping Hanumanth, and my kids were small, so my first priority was to the family. Then my father and his brother said, Beda, namge beda ansate. Then that particular day, destiny is amazing. That particular day, driver had not come, and my dad called me up and said that Neen Madhyanad Mel, I used to work only for half a day from 10 to 1. And then I used to come back home. Then my father called me up and told me, Neen free idiya? I said, yeah, I'm free. What to do? Will you take me to Dr. C.B. Murthy's chamber? Because it doesn't look nice to call up and tell him that, no, we don't want to do this project. I said, okay, let's go, come. And I took him to C.B. Murthy's chamber, and I was sitting behind. They were in the front talking, and I was just casually sitting. And my father told Dr. C.B. Murthy, illa sir, namge agalla. And Dr. C.B. Murthy said, they call me Rani at home. That's my pet name. Rani madbodala. It had not struck any of us. I said, yeah, haudu madbodala. And I'm a little bit impulsive and spontaneous person. So my father said, will you do it? I said, yeah, I can do it. We have Shantala background. What a big deal. I didn't even know that it is a big deal and it involves lot of problems and solutions are there. But still, I said, okay, let me do. So come on, sign. Uncle Hanumanth Bangalore hogidare, Burli, Madamma. He said, okay, mad. And that's how I signed my first multiplex in BM Habitat Mall. Absolutely clueless as to how the whole thing goes because Shantala Theatre was established when I was 3 years old. I had my Akshara Abhyasa. Avagella 2-3 events together they used to do. Shantala Theatre opening with my Akshara Abhyasa. 2 things at one go. So I said, yeah, Shantala, we know how they run. It's weekly thing. One manager we have in Bangalore who will, take the movies. It must be easy. Then I came home and I told Hanuman, hey, I think it's a good deal that I have signed. He said, what? I said, yeah, we have signed. We have signed. Okay. Hanuman, I need your help. Of course. And as usual, he was there as my back support. Then it dawned on me that, oh my God, this is a huge, big project. What am I doing? I have signed it and I don't want to go back now. So Dr. C.B. Murthy was instrumental in me signing this and I have a lot of gratitude and regards to C.B. Murthy. And then the real problem started. So where do we get the funds? And we have absolutely no clue how to go about it. All we know was we had one Shantala Theatre, which was running from last 30 years. Absolutely, there was no loan, smooth sale. One movie bandre 25 dina irate, no problem, no procuring of movies. Then the whole journey started. And as usual, we started writing down, taking down all, because Hanumanth was an engineer, it was a great help for me. And he started doing BOQs, and I had never heard of all those, names. What is this BOQ and all those things? I said, okay, now where do we get the money? We had some small sum, that's all. But then this project is huge. Then we approached 2-3 banks. They said, illa entertainment, tumba risku, now kodalla, they said. And we had already invested around few crores. But we still needed lot of crores. Then what to do? All banks are telling me this. We go every day, we meet the manager, we meet the general manager, and this is the same story, end of the day. Then my father runs his finance company. Then I said, Anna, what to do now? We are stuck like this. And there was a very small finance company which was doing pretty well. Then he called Hanumanth and me and told that, okay, listen, you go ahead with this project. I will fund you. But I can't fund you straight away. I will fund you in stages because I need to take money as deposits and then give you that. But you start. That was the assurance that both of us wanted. And accordingly, he funded us and the complete thing was done in 11 months. And of course, we opened on 1st October 2011. And then the problem started because earlier Shantala had only 4 shows. Whereas here we have 4 screens with 5 shows, 20 movies. So how do we do that? And everything is new. We need to have some 11 licenses for the multiplex. So as usual, again, my whole and soul, Hanuman, please, what do we do? For everything. He says, don't worry, we'll tackle it one at a time. So he has been my silent partner. So I keep telling everybody that I am the face of DRC, but there is a team which is dedicated. And they work very well, but I take all the limelight. So then we started and we called up people from Bangalore, Bombay, Madras, because we were the first theatre to screen 3D. We had the 3D equipments, but we didn't know which movie, where to get. So all those initial problems we had. on the 57, that's one of the biggest challenges that we find is how do we tackle public. You need to be calm. At the same time, you need to tell them, understand that, look, this is not what we have done. This is a computer or a KEB search which has happened, and it's not in our control. Some people are understanding, some people are not. So we need to get all the things. Okay, sir, thank you, sir, no problem, sir. All those things we need to do. But finally, the whole night out, Hanumanth and the whole team were there, night out. I went back home because the kids were small. Next day, early morning, I took breakfast for all of them. Then the equipments, everything, small parts came from Madras. So these are all small journeys that we had to undergo to see what DRC is today. Other than that, there are small incidents like this. So I thought that I will talk for a few minutes, and if there are any questions, I would like to answer those questions rather than talking. Every person who is in here in business would have gone through these journeys. It's different for everybody. So that's how my journey started with DRC. Today, we are confident. In fact, today evening when we were in the theater and we were about to come, there was a crisis. Patan running in screen 1 with 180 people, and the AC just stopped. So we were there, Hanumanth was there in the AC chamber checking it out, and it was getting late to come here. Then the AC vendors, the technician came, they said, please you go ahead, we will sort it out. And I think just now message came that it's been sorted. Because today being Saturday, weekends are very, very crucial for us. So these things happen, but we need to know how to manage it. And of course, I have told in many platforms that you need to love what you do. I love what I do. So we are right now on moving ahead with few more multiplexes. Hopefully it should come through. So, and yes, that's it. And nothing else for me to say. If you have any questions, I would like to answer those questions. COVID was very bad for us. 18 months we had to shut down because cinema theaters are the best examples. They are the first to shut down, last to open. So we had a lot of issues. But we managed. We made sure that we run the equipments and we kept all the staff. We told them, we had a meeting, we told them we will give them half salary, but we will retain them. So it was a very bad, because we have other businesses, those businesses could support this particular venture. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. I was really getting scared and worried that what's going to happen, because it's a huge capital intensive. You know, the 4K projectors, Dolby Atmos, each and everything cost money. So how do we do that? And the rentals, everything. So, but fortunately, since we had other businesses, we were able to take care of those bad times.
Hi. Wonderful, inspirational story. It's very nice to hear that.
Thank you.
And I have a question. With the OTT coming in and various other parts of it, how is that affecting the business? And the second part of the business, the question is that when the new movies come in, how do you bid to get them? Meaning that, is there a process which you follow? What works, what doesn't work? I mean, sometimes the movie comes in and within a week it is gone because it doesn't work. How does that impact you?
Yeah. For the second part of the question, how do you do that? Now, initially we had a lot of issues to get movies. We had to be, we had a manager in Bangalore who could go to the production houses, and those 11 years back, even the email, everything was not there, not so much. So they used to orally confirm it to our managers, and we used to pray that the licenses, it's all digital, right? We get the whole process starts like this. the movie is encrypted and is in a hard drive. We have a, what do you call, Cube Cinemas, who are our server facilitators, who give us the hard disk. It has to be injected into the server. Then the distributor has to give us a password. It's called key, KDM. Okay, only when the KDM is put, the picture starts. It's given for either 1 day, 1 week, 2 weeks, depending on how the movie is. So the problem is, earlier we didn't know, but now after, thanks to Mysoreans, we had a fabulous run, and we were recognized not only in Karnataka, but entire India. We were recognized as one of the best occupancy theaters for a small. So people started associating. Yes, I got a call last year from Tripura telling me that they want to have a show, some Northeast language. They wanted to have a show just exclusively for the Northeast people here. So it goes around. The distributors know, and our payments are perfect. So all those things which will help us in doing this. Now the distributors themselves call, nothing doing. See, we need a show in your screen. That's all they ask. But the challenge is, every Friday we have some 20 movies. And we have only 4 screens, which are at the prime show is always the 7 o'clock show. So the challenge is, that's what I keep telling Hanumanth, I need few more screens, because every Monday the process starts that some 20 movies are coming, all 20 will call me and tell me that I need your 7 o'clock slot, because the 7 o'clock is the peak slot. Then I need to convince them that, no boss, you come at 4 o'clock, I will give you the 7 o'clock later. So I need to do that. And it's all about communication. That's what I said. I'm bad at communicating from a podium, but on the phone I'm really good. So that was one of the reasons why my distributors also understand me and tell them, okay, madam, whatever you say, we will do. No, you come at 1:30, I'm sure, because we have studied the market. We know exactly in which slot who will fit in. So that's how I do it. Many times I go wrong, but again, it's a learning process. So that keeps happening. The second thing is, as far as the OTT is concerned, OTT is okay for some time, because in a theater, it's a different experience. You come out of the house with your family or with, I have a lot of doctors who come, lady doctors who come alone at 10 o'clock in the night just to rewind. They just need that ambience, the smell of popcorn. Even if the movie is bad, they just want to relax. Many times we keep telling them that you please keep your brain in the car, come up, just enjoy, go back, and then, go home. So I feel it's the family, and it's an overall experience which makes it a better than OTT. And of course, content is the king. Kantara proved it to us that it was a fabulous, super duper hit where the content was the king. And previous to Kantara, a lot of Kannada movies did really well. In spite of so many OTT platforms, they come at 28 days or so, but doesn't matter. The experience that we get in the cinema is different.
Thank you. It's really nice. Lot of power to women entrepreneurs. Thank you so much. May I request all the 3 eminent speakers on the dais, please. Shankar sir will be taking the questions on our guest behalf. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Excellent, much varied. If you just look at how or what success is, if you can really want to define what success is, there are 2 ways to define it. Number one, how you have overcome your challenges. That's number one, whatever challenges you would have got. Or if there are no challenges, how do you define success? Is what value you add to the customer. I think we have seen both of you doing that, adding value to the customer in both ways, overcoming the challenges and obviously the experience that you give to the customers. So we will take up a Q&A. The very first question that came to my mind to both of you, this is a common question. I'm sure Praveen and Prasad will take it up first. Now, both of you, it's a family-run business with both of you, Hanumanth and yourself and Praveen. How often you agree or not agree? What are the challenges of family-run business? Now, there are a lot of new entrepreneurs here and want to start up, picking up a few funds from the family and friends. I'm sure this would be of some input for them also. So how often you agree, how often you don't agree?
Tough question. See, as a techie and product guy, most of the time we disagree. Agree to disagree. Because a lot of challenges, when he as a marketing guy, he'll go and sell and come back, then we have to achieve. A lot of product companies we also face. A lot of other challenges, taking into consideration of resource availability and timeline. So, but ultimately as a goal, as a company, or organization, we have to achieve that. So, that time we both agree to do the common goal. Yeah. You can
Yeah.
First thing, I totally agree with what ma'am said, Vaishali ma'am said. In a family business, the family support is important.
Absolutely.
That's the first thing. If you get a support, it's icing on cake. If you do not get resistance, it is the cake. You can just walk away with the cake. Most of the family businesses fail because of resistance. That's what I feel. Resistance could be from anybody. It could be from your parents, it could be from your spouse, or anybody. I was talking to Sudanwa the other day, especially from the perspective of a youngster. When you're a youngster, out of college, you want to do something, your parents won't allow you. So they want you to get into a job, they want you to get married. Fine, you got into a job, you got married, you got experience, then your wife won't allow you. So then when will you become an entrepreneur? So the entrepreneurship has to break the dice somewhere. That's the first challenge where we have to get into. And then second thing, why a lot of us are comfortable in family entrepreneurship is basically we face, I would say it in this way, that we face this challenge. You look at from a perspective of an investor. If I were an investor investing money with Praveen, or Praveen would have been an investor with me, the equation would have been totally different.
Correct.
Today, we can postpone buying certain things. To share with you, like there was a time our employees used to get credit cards, and we were not getting credit cards because they had a salary, and then we were directors, and then we take salary when we want. So there is no payslip for us. And then some employees, they were able to build their house much earlier than we could even buy our own plots. So as a family, you can push your decisions forward. You can say that, okay, I don't want to do it now, I'll do it 2 years later. But then you can't do the same thing with your investor. Your investor says, this is what I want EBITDA, this is what I want profit, so on and so forth. But then having said that again, we need to have an understanding family member to do all this.
It's quite a challenge. Ma'am, you want to add? Hanumanth is also here.
As far as the technical thing is concerned, I'm zero in that. Okay. So I go by whatever he says, and I'm sure that he will do the best.
Okay.
As far as technical, we clearly demarcate what is to be done.
So anything to do with monetary thing, you are the boss.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, but we still discuss. So that's what I keep telling, and my son and daughter, both of them, because it's a family-run business. Invariably, I think some phone call will come, and we are in the breakfast table. We just keep talking. So they have imbibed this quality, and now since my son has joined us, now he is also coming in and giving his 2 bit of advice. As you rightly said, the youngsters are very challenging, fast, everything. Yeah. I said no problem.
Impulsive also to some extent.
Since I am also impulsive, it's a little difficult for me.
Anyway, okay. Before I open it up to the entire audience here to Praveen and Prasad, when we talk about traceability of anything, generally today we are talking about blockchain, today. But what was the technical question, of course, but we can quickly finish it off. How did you start off with this? Is it today blockchain? Because during, I think, 2014 or 15, we started talking about Starbucks traceability platform for beans and things like that. So is this a blockchain kind of a distributed ledgering system?
No, we do not use blockchain. We developed traceability without using blockchain.
Okay.
Blockchain is one of the methods to achieve traceability. And then coffee, I can speak about an hour about coffee, but coffee traceability is a very tricky thing. What happens is you buy coffee from say 500 farmers, and then it gets into a silo in a mill. It's milled. So it's a kind of a dumbbell if you can look at the data distribution, and then it comes out as 7 or 8 different products of different qualities. So that is again blended, because you want to buy a stronger coffee, it's blended. You wanted to have a dark roast, it is blended, and then it's powdered, and then you have the coffee. So you can look at the data. It's some 500 people got merged into one place, and then it gets into 7, 8, and then gets into another 3, 4, and then comes out. So we have a methodology of looking back.
Okay.
We have developed a methodology of algorithms to look
Highly
back.
data driven, I'm sure.
Data driven, yeah, and then we get.
Of course, it's a technical question, may not be of this thing here. Anyway, we will. I'll open it up to audience here. Any questions? And I'll come back to you. Couple of questions, ma'am. I'll come back to you, especially on the entertainment and OTT. Quite a lot.
Well, you can decide who's going to answer this, either Prasad or Praveen. Very heartening to see that a small little company in Mysore is controlling 45% of the world's coffee trade. Now, two things. What prevents you from taking the other 55%? And the second thing is, why are you just sticking to coffee? I mean, why can't you just scale it up to, there must be hundreds, thousands of other agro commodities out there. So what is the challenge in actually getting around to that?
Yeah, see, basically, there is also a competition. And then in our industry, there is a kind of affordability which people can get into. There are larger trade houses which can afford different systems. The systems like maybe SAP or something, which they can spend a few $1 million. So that's where we have market share which may not be acquirable. Yeah. And then second thing, with respect to coffee, we do other commodities also, but our majority happens in coffee. Why we are sticking to coffee is there is a lot of greener pasture there in terms of pain points and solutions which we can offer. If you get into, say for example, grains, say wheat, it doesn't have too much of complexity when it comes to that. Wheat is harvested, it is stored, it's milled and packed, and then there is not much of which they say that. But in coffee, there are a lot of complexities and then value add which happens. That's where it gives us an opportunity to provide solutions. Yeah.
Sorry, since I have the mic, Vaishali ji, this is not so much of a question, but just maybe a suggestion and a thought process. Now that you've got a wonderful platform that is potentially, basically a pride of Mysore, have you thought about organizing film festivals that we sorely miss out here?
We are ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಾಲ್ಬಿ ಸೌಂಡ್ ಥರ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು. We are thinking of doing it, but since Mysore is still a small place, people are a little hesitant, and we also have this Bangalore International Film Festival, which we have been trying, that why don't you give it to us? But there are a lot of problems which we are trying to find solutions to get one of those at least as a startup. First let's start with that. I think Hanumanth and somebody else is working on some other film festival, but still to convince people that there is an audience here it's taking little bit of time. Masala movies, we know that there is lot of audience, but for film festival we need to do our homework properly and then present it to them, otherwise they are not interested. Malayalam movie, after 35 years, we started Malayalam. And the results are amazing. So, I think 35 years, I think Shantala Theatre, morning shows, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we used to screen Malayalam movies, those days, 35 years back. Then there was absolutely zero Malayalam movies. Then when we started DRC, we started Malayalam movies. And the best part is Malayalam movies, 10 o'clock is an ideal, slot for them, what we have done. 9:30, there are only some 12 tickets gone, and 9:55, there is 100 and odd tickets. Silently they'll come, finish the movie and go. It's a beautiful study, so I think it will take little more time for us to organize a film festival, but we want to do that.
Again.
Hello.
Hello.
Myself Ravi. First to Prasad and Praveen. I know it is a family-run business, and you both are brothers, right? So when you're starting a business in a family, before a business, just to be at a family itself, you will have a lot of complication between brothers. But when you started a business, what are the kind of challenges which you faced with respect to personal versus professional?
No, we got the answer, no? He gave the mic to him.
To be frank with you, I mean, more than brothers, we are friends. Even till today, we don't face any challenges. When it comes to, taking any decision or financial decision or anything. So, with family, and we are luckily, we have got good spouse. We don't have any issues, both of us. So that's where, as a family, no issues for us. Yeah.
One more question. So since you are into the product development company, and what is your suggestion for any new product development company? What are the key elements one has to focus?
It's a very hard question to answer. What is the product you have to develop? If I have to say that something which can be validated by a customer and who is willing to pay for it. And that's very hard to find out. So one way to do that is basically you have to test the waters in the sense like, this could be one of the method, but there could be other methods too. What we think is like, you try and work with some customers, see what they are really looking for, and then try to develop something for them, and then productize it if you can do that. That could be one methodology of doing that.
Yeah,
but then,
I'm sure we'll have many more to talk when we network after this.
Correct. Yeah.
Shabrishan has.
I have a common question to the three of you. First of all, thank you for sharing your inspiring story. What I understood from you, you are all still very much bootstrapped. I mean, you have not had any angel investor coming or devil investor coming into it. Now, going forward, do you think you will need some outside investor to grow, like your DRC is coming up elsewhere, and you want to gallop into other commodities or scale up linearly? That was one question. Second question is specifically to you, since you deal with agricultural commodities. You talked about farmers' sustainability and things like that. Now, this traceability that you talk about, is it even pre-harvesting or post-harvesting, and how does it help them? Data has to be keyed in, or you have automated visual capturing of, like for example, moisture content. So, if you could throw some light on it.
With respect to the opportunity for investors, anything is possible. It's always there. It's a pretty open situation, and then we all basically behave based on the situation. That's what I can put it across. Second thing, with respect to the traceability, both ways. Either it can be even automated, or it can be data driven. We do both. That's it.
As far as for the expansion process is concerned, I'm putting Krishna in charge for the VC funding, blah, 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 whatever it is. But then it has to go through the board, which is Hanumanth and myself. He has to convince us first, then we can take it forward, was my suggestion when he said that we should do this, we should do that. I said, yes, you give us a report, because we are old school, where we say that, look, haske iddashte kal chachbeku type. So I said, okay, I will not throw it out, let's give it a try. And definitely we would like to, because if we have to grow, then we need funds. So that's the most important factor. So we are working on that right now.
Okay. Quite a challenging two questions to both of you, I'd say. For Madam, see the linear platform is the cable TV, the non-linear is the OTT. Now we are talking about a mixed customized entertainment system, where I can see what the end could be, whatever I want to know, versus whatever you want to see the end to be, and kind of interactive involvement, metaverse, quite a lot of things are happening, I'm pretty sure. So do you see any challenges? 5G has already come. How do you see entertainment as an industry?
I feel that as long as far as entertainment is concerned, it will be there, because man is a social animal. They get bored seeing the same stuff, seeing in their same house. I have a lot of my friends who say that they refuse to see in their home theater. Cooker cookta irate, coffee togond ba antare, what is this nonsense? I would like to go to the theater, enjoy my space, you know. So I personally feel that as long as the content is good and you give them a good ambience, a good place to relax, entertainment will be there. Yes.
Sure. Good. I'm sure it will be. The challenging question for you both is, with the kind of global recession creeping in to entire Europe and America, how do you see your business grow? Because you are interwoven with the international market, either with metal or with the agricultural products. How do you see that as a challenge?
Metal, as I said, it's inverse of the recession. So there is a recession, a lot of metal comes in. So last year we were a little lean, and this year already a lot of metal started coming in. So we are into a lot of work there. With respect to the agro commodities, it's a very stable business. The margins are not very high. So the people whom we work with are very price conscious. They have to be there, they have to survive. But it's not that they don't want to stop things doing. But at the same time, they don't want to really explode like any of the industry like banking or finance. So that way it is pretty steady business here.
I know it is a challenge, but we have to overcome that.
Yes.
I'm sure. Any quick questions? Last couple of questions. Yeah, Prashant.
Yeah. Mr. Prasad Raju and I go a long way back. We were classmates in engineering. So I'm asking this question as a representative of the whole cohort. What was the role that your engineering degree played in your entrepreneurship? And of course, whatever the role, it could be either ways, right? You can feel free to add it. And was there a role your friends during engineering, what was the role they played in your entrepreneurship? And this will go back to the entire group on WhatsApp.
I think with ma'am it is biosciences, I suppose.
One thing, I'm a mechanical engineer. One thing I really picked up in my engineering is analytical abilities. So, and then being a mechanical engineer, we are always tagged as notorious guys in the college. So, so that's one thing. So we never wanted to have any problems with us. So we are trying to break it down. That's something which we really picked up and tried to apply it to many places. And you know that we had one computer in our college. And then our group, we did a project with a Fortran programming. I always wanted to be an industrialist. Being a mechanical engineer, I wanted to start my own industry. And then I was very friendly with Sriram, who comes from Coimbatore, because I always felt that, you know, he could help me to set up something in Coimbatore. And then I realized it was all like, you know, fantasies we have during our college days. And then I realized that it takes good amount of money for you to set up a factory, you know, whether you have to invest in machines and all that. Then I changed my intentions. So then I wanted to learn computers, do something, because I realized that there is not much of investment required to do something in computers. That's how I, changed it. So this is what you can take names and put it in the WhatsApp. Yeah.
Thank you, Prasad.
How has biosciences helped you? You were...
I was a BBM graduate.
Oh, not...
No.
My mistake.
Yeah.
Sorry, I stand corrected. Any last one? Yeah.
Madam, do you have any plans to set up a production house or setting up any group of clubs for a movie makers?
Production house, definitely no. Right now, I want to be in the back end, or rather we want to be in the back end, just to show movies. We would like to bring in the best technologies, whatever is best in the industry, we would like to bring that to the audience of Mysore. Like 4K is the topmost projectors which we have. Dolby, as far as the sound is concerned, is the best. We have tried with recliners. We would like to go in for some other good seats. Keep on adding value to our customers. But right now, productions, no. I don't think so. Production, distribution, no.
Okay. I'm sure we will have many more questions.
I have the mic. I'll just ask.
Clubs. What we generally do is, we have tied up with Amrita School of Mass Communication, and whoever in Mysore is an young and upcoming film, they have produced a movie or directed a movie, we would like to give them a chance to project it on our screens, which we have done, and encourage them so that it will be a good stepping stone even for them.
Good, thanks very much. That's a great thing.
Thank you, Shankar sir, and thank you, eminent guest, for answering all our questions. May I request our president to come over on the dais and hand over the mementos, please?